Hello, everyone. So this is an introduction to myself and my colleague Andrew for the Transformative Scenario Planning elective for the MBA program of 2022. And we are going to share an introduction, a little bit more about the elective. My name is Colleen Magner. I'm an adjunct faculty member at Gibbs. I actually go way back with Gibbs. I started there in 2001 and set up the Center for Leadership and Dialogue, which I ran for 7 years. And in that time, I had to bring various stakeholders together across government, business, and civil society to address some of South Africa's socioeconomic challenges. And it was from there that I got interested in what it takes to bring people together to collaborate and to solve shared problems. And so I went on to set up a company called Rios Partners, and we work around the world on a range of different issues, but particularly where groups don't like, trust, or agree with each other. And we found that scenario planning really supports collaboration. And this is what we are hoping to share with you in this elective. So that's an introduction to me. And I'm delighted to have my colleague, Andrew Akpan, deliver this program together with me. So Andrew, do you mind introducing yourself?
Thank you, Colleen. My name is Andrew Akpan. I am a senior consultant at Rios Partners, and I hold a master's degree in philosophy from the University of Johannesburg. And from time to time, I am invited to teach some courses on business ethics to the engineering and accounting students. And in Rios, my work primarily is about designing and facilitating multi-stakeholder engagements. I've worked on various systems, justice transformation, food systems, energy transition. And as Colleen mentioned, it's about bringing diverse people together to develop a solution to their shared challenge. So it's really excited to be doing this with my colleague Colleen, and I trust that this will be a valuable offering that will help you to position yourself and be relevant in this ever-changing world. So Colleen, I'm curious to know why you are excited to offer this elective. What benefits will the student get from engaging?
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. I'm always excited to work with Gibbs because of the long history and what I know Gibbs is trying to achieve and the world-class quality of what it offers. It's a great challenge. And I think what we bring, you and I, to business school students is some experience in how to bring groups together that have quite different ways of thinking about problem solving. So when you've got to bring government officials with activists, with civil society leaders, with business, with regulators together that have very, very different ideas about what needs to happen, but they have a shared challenge. That's the work that we do. And of course, we've worked around the world and continue to work around the world on society's biggest challenges, from climate change to violence against women. We hope to offer something useful and a global perspective. So that excites me. And I'd love to share some examples, but before I do, maybe Andrew, I also want to hear from you. This is your first time coming into an elective. What's exciting for you?
Thanks, Colleen. I'm excited because I really believe that we need leaders who can imagine the future. I've seen the effects of and the benefits of that in my work, and I think that the change that we want to see in the world begins with the power of imagination. And offering this course to leaders, potential leaders, current leaders, emerging leaders who are taking this MBA course opens up or creates a capacity for them to tell stories that are compelling, stories that offer possible trajectories into the future as a provocation. So and invites them in to imagine how they they can act to create the desired future. If we cannot imagine, then we cannot solve inequality, we cannot solve poverty, we cannot solve the food crisis in our country. So I'm really excited at that level, because I've seen it work in many places, and I believe that a lot of people should have this skill to do this in their various places of work.
Great. So maybe I can just share an example to give people a sense of, when you talk about imagination, what it actually looks like. And Andrew, if maybe you share an example, and we'll leave it there as the introduction. So some years back, in 2015, we worked with a group of stakeholders in the land reform system in South Africa, where, as you know, land reform is heavily contested, and progress on reform was getting scuppered by the fact that so many people were disagreeing about what to do to accelerate land reform. And we pulled together a group of stakeholders, from government officials, from various departments, business leaders, large stakeholders in large land ownership, community activists, NGOs, and they did these are people who fight in public and really challenge each other's ideas. But because we went through a structured process of developing scenarios about the future of land reform, they became more aligned with seeing what might happen in the future. And so even though they disagree in terms of their positions and organizations, they had an underlying imagination and quite a structured way of thinking about what could happen and what implications there are to what might happen. And it created much more trust and alignment on things that they had to work together on. Of course, they needed to disagree on some things, but it led to a number of them being working on the Presidential Council for Land Reform together and other initiatives. And so that's an example of the work that you'll learn in this elective. And I'm going to hand over to Andrew to end off with an example of some recent work that he's been involved in. And hopefully we'll see you on the course.
I spoke about my excitement and in using scenarios to solve our current problems. And we know in South Africa, there is a huge problem of unemployment. And there is a big mismatch in the demand and between the demand and the supply side when you think of the PSET, the post-school education and training sector. Meaning that, schools are training people and the industry are like, we do not really need these skills, or the skills are mismatched or they are outdated. And I'll call the names of the stakeholders because it's public knowledge, and there is a big publication that was released some months ago. So Jet Education Services and Mesita came together to say, we want to create an interoperable digital ecosystem that people will be able to link their data together for learners and people in the PSET sector to make informed decisions. And of course, linking data sources together is very contentious, and people are scared of sharing the data. There is issues of privacy and ownership. And we thought that using scenarios and bringing diverse stakeholders together who own this data to say, let's create stories of futures, of what could happen in this sector if we do not collaborate. And they generated 4 compelling stories that are plausible, relevant, challenging, and clear. And then it became clearer to them that there is an imperative to collaborate. And on the back of this, there are other conversations on partnership and creating this technical platform or this digital platform, that people need to link their data sources. So I've seen the power of scenarios in helping people, to plan well, in helping people to collaborate, enabling people to begin to solve a problem, and in this case, the problem of unemployment and the mismatch between the demand and the supply side in the value chain.
Great, thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Colleen. And I look forward to seeing you, and it will really be an exciting time together.